Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry for the delay. We really appreciate you coming out on the Saturday morning, afternoon, and learning a little bit more about forensic science. Today we have Dr. James Huggins. He is a professor in the forensic science department, and he's going to go over the academics and everything. Feel free to type in the chat any questions that you guys have, and we can help cover those at the end, and then we'll go from there. So take it away, Dr. Huggins.
Sorry for the delay, folks. It's been on my. I'm out in the middle of Davy Crockett National Forest, coming in and out, and around the house, and I'm sitting here smelling about 7 racks of ribs on the barbecue pit. So I seriously doubt that you've probably had a session that's going to be like that from somebody out in the middle of the forest during hunting season. So briefly, I'm going to go through a few slides here for you for the forensic science program that we have here at Baylor. Just kind of give you just a touch of history on it. I've been here 10 years, and since that period of time, we have kind of revamped the program as we've gone and added some courses and other things in the forensic science field that I feel like would best serve those that are wanting to go into that as a profession. So I've spent quite a bit of time along with some others in the department trying to build this program to where it is today. So we're going to go through a few slides. This is by no means all the classes that we have, but it'll kind of give you an idea of what's going on. And I kind of picked out the most important ones. So go ahead and since it's being done remotely, he's going to be operating the slides for me. So currently the forensic science minor is an 18-hour minimum. And there are a couple of required courses that you have to take in order to achieve the necessary curriculum to get the forensic science minor. And those 2 classes at the moment are Survey of Forensic Science and the lower level CSI course. Then we have 8 upper level courses currently, with about 4 or 5 more on the drawing board that we're planning to add hopefully in the near future. That will encompass, you can pick whichever ones you want, and then whatever suits your need, and then that will satisfy your 18-hour minimum. So you can take it in any of those electives at all, and it really doesn't matter. It's just whatever kind of suits you. This is the second biggest minor on campus, second only to bio. Currently, even the bottom line there, I should have updated that because there's 75 or 76 different majors inside Baylor University that now take forensic science as a minor to accompany their particular major. And they'll just kind of give you an example of those that are there. The most common ones, but as you can tell, with 75 or 6 of them, there's quite a few people that do it. Okay, next slide, please. I'm the primary faculty. I'm a retired Texas Ranger Sergeant. I retired 10 years ago and came on full-time at Baylor to take over the forensic science program and start working on the curriculum. And there's a lot of different professors in other departments now that we have courses also in that cross-reference with forensic science, such as anthropology. We do a lot of work with the law school. Currently have a class going on right now called Expert Witness Testimony, and where the students are required as their lab, so to speak, in that particular course, they actually testify during mock court at the law school. Faculty and I believe in the psychology department. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, next slide. Okay, these are the current courses, those that are bullet pointed. Those are the current courses that we have at Baylor, with some others, as you can see in the bottom right corner, as prospective courses that I'm working on, kind of on the drawing board. And the courses that are here currently, I feel like that will best, whether they're going into work in the field itself, even police used to do, but also as well as those that choose to work in the lab. And have a large number of students every year that graduate with the forensic science minor that go on to graduate school or also go into the professional field in CSI. Next, please. Just some pictures. Throw some pictures in there because students love pictures. These are actual students in actual lab settings in each one of these next few slides that you'll see. Pattern analysis course is here. These officers around the United States. Next slide, please. There we go. Forensic firearms analysis obviously is another very popular course amongst the students, and you actually see students in these pictures that are doing lab work at the firing range. In this particular case, doing distance determinations and ejection patterns and various things that have to do with firearms analysis, because a lot of a forensic scientist's work, either in the lab or in the field, has to do with shootings and shooting reconstructions and things of those natures. Next slide, please. Medical legal death investigation was a course that I started about 5 years ago, and it had been on my list since I started at Baylor, mainly because there really isn't a medical legal death investigation course taught kind of south of St. Louis. So I jumped in on that really quickly. And currently we have I think I have about 6 former students that are working in the field for medical examiners' offices, either as investigators for the medical examiner's office or in some other form or capacity with them. And you see the middle picture was, I took students, and I wish we could do this again, but they've stopped that a number of years ago, but used to take students to an actual autopsy, and that's a picture of such. Bottom right picture is a former student hidden in there somewhere. Who's actually in the field. Next slide, please. Next slide. Slide, please. We must be having a glitch. The slides aren't going through. Are you able to get the next slide up? There we go. Advanced Forensic Investigations was a course that I started several years ago that is kind of even though it's not intended to be that, it's kind of a capstone course for those that are in the field. So most of the people that are taking forensic science once they get upper junior to the actual crime scene. So I set up crime scenes, and then for the basis of the semester, which includes anything from writing search warrants and writing reports all the way through working the actual cases that have been concocted here throughout the semester, and trying to do it as close to real life as possible as a CSI or a police officer would actually work those types of courses. Next slide, if there is one. I'm thinking there might be one more if I remember right. This kind of gives you, without going through this entire list, because I want to save time for questions, this gives you an idea of the students that have come through, regardless of what their majors are, that have come through the forensics curriculum and then gone on to professions in these particular fields. Whether it be anything from a medical doctor to a CSI tech, someone working in the lab doing forensic analysis, a criminal and I've even that are now police officers. Now they chose that. So that should be, I think, the last question. Any questions? Yeah. I can't see them on this particular screen, so there we go. Seeing some.
Yeah, so we have a question. This student's been taking all sorts of classes with a local community college, whether it's been forensic science, forensic criminology, and medical courses. and more general subjects like English, math, and
Mhm.
psychology. They're asking specifically, would I have to retake it, or could my credits transfer from a community college?
Um, you'd have to check with the registrar on that or the undergraduate program director. It would really depend on what course it was and where you actually took the course and technically who you took it under. You would still have to meet the requirements of taking the two entry level courses at this point in time. But there's a chance that maybe, depending on what the course is, maybe one of those could substitute for it. I don't know. That's really the only way to be able to know that is you'd have to submit your transcript to the registrar's office and let them look at it.
Yeah, so very, very good question, Kennedy. So that's how that process works for when you're applying and when you're wanting to transfer courses. You'll request those transcripts from your community college, and then that goes through our office, the admissions office, and then that gets dispersed over to each individual department. So, for example, you took an English class, history class, a math class. So all those departments have to approve those courses. If you look on our website, we do have a equivalency course tool where you'll see you can filter out, like if you're in Texas or if you're in California, wherever you are, you can filter out by state as well as each individual institution. And then those will tell you the courses that have been pre-approved to transfer. They're guaranteed to transfer. Anything that's not on the list, then it just has to go through the approval process. So, and that'll happen later on, like after you've been accepted, once you decide that Baylor is where you're wanting to go. I guess one question that I have for the forensic science department is, how does our program differentiate between like a school like TCU, for example? How are they going to be different?
Interestingly enough, we have students that come to Baylor specifically to minor in forensics and then take whatever major that they want to accompany that. Kind of sounds backward, but it actually does happen quite a bit. And I think the reason for that is some of it is the background that I got, plus I have the, but I can offer experiences that in a lot of situations, as much as anything that separates it, plus up that you might not find any expert witness testimony 10 years ago. I don't think anybody as far as I know, in the state was teaching that. And then doing the advanced course and doing different things like that. I try to offer something that's different from the rest of the universities or colleges that might be in the area or even in this part of the United States. Try to separate the field from that. Give the students some kind of experience when they get out in the field, just should they choose to use. I saw another question pop up, but I couldn't see what it was.
Sure, I'll read it. So someone asked, do the forensic classes work with the Honors College?
I have a lot of honor students that take forensic classes. You would have to specifically talk to those in the Honors College, but a lot of times, and you can't quote me on this because since I do teach a couple of honors courses. I don't college, but I do have a lot of students from the I would say probably my best estimate, because I try to keep track every semester of who's in the classes, what their majors are, or what college that they are in, if they're not in arts and sciences. And I would say that probably 5, maybe 6% in some way or form or another are affiliated with the Honors College. That might not sound like a lot, but that actually is a pretty good number when you stop and think about it, because they once they find the forensics courses that are here at Baylor, then it interests them, and then they're able to do that, but they're working it through the honors college. And I kind of danced around that question to say that I do have a lot of honor students. And I saw another one pop up, but all I got was a name. One more question there?
Yes, so we do have another question.
Okay.
What majors would you recommend taking alongside the minor in forensics? Because their counselor recommended anthropology and the pre-med track, but they were just wondering what else was available.
Excellent choice is what I would say on that one. By and large, the large number of students in majors that take the courses are neuroscience, biochem. So most part, that's about the top 5 or 6. I have a lot of nursing students. You can pair this with anything, even engineering, because you'd be surprised that there are a number of students that come through that are engineering majors and like, well, can I take forensic science? And I'm like, have you ever heard of forensic engineering? Absolutely. Forensics works in a lot of different fields. It carries over into just about some form or fashion about everything we do these days. So you can pair it with anything. Pair it with something that would interest you. And from the parent's aspect, being a parent, something that will lead you into a fruitful profession down the road where you can make a good living. That's the way I look at it. Whatever you choose is fine. So another one popped up, but all I got was a name on it too.
Yep. So one more question before we wrap up.
There was one more question.
What can you do with a major in neuroscience and minor in forensics?
Well, that would be something you would need to talk specifically to neuroscience about, but you could probably answer that question pretty easy yourself, thinking about what a neuroscientist actually does. My suggestion there is contact the neuroscience directly, because they're the ones that are going to be able to minor pairs with neuroscience up when they're done, whether it be in grad school or whatever side of the profession that they tend to look at. The best option there is to contact the neuroscience department directly.
Good advice. Good advice. Okay, so that unfortunately that is the end of the time. We do need to move on so that you guys can attend other sessions. Thank you so much, Professor Huggins. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to our students, and thank you guys for being here on the Saturday now afternoon. At this point, feel free to reach out to Professor Huggins about any questions you have about forensic science, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to connect with you. And if he can't answer it, I'm sure he can help you get you connected with someone else. Same thing with us, with the admissions office. Definitely reach out to us, and we're happy to help with anything that you guys have. So enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, guys.